Hello and welcome to another episode of GNY Sports, a side quest of our comedy current events show, Good News York, which airs Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. on all socials at Good News York or goodnewsyork.com, and that's where you can find GNY Sports as well. You can follow me on all socials at Mike B TV. So much to get to, as always. So much I want to talk about. I didn't mean for this to become a thing, but I just feel like, I want to talk about the Bills, and it's always happened at the top of the show. It's either a rant or a rave, more rant than rave. So that's what I'm going to do. Very quickly, I just want to go over this past game was a complete, it was the complete 180 of what we saw against the damn Dolphins. Look, Josh Allen, 6 touchdowns, set another record of some sort. The dude is he's Superman when he wants to be, or when they let him. I'm not going to rag on Allen. It'd be insane to do that after a 317-yard game and 6 touchdowns, 3 rushing and 3 passing. But if you are a Bills fan and you are using your eyes and you follow the team like most of us do, psychotically, you do know that Josh Allen's body language and his energy, the whole thing has just been off. You see it on the sideline. You kind of see it in the huddles. He's still doing his thing. He's still Josh Allen. He's still a leader. But at the same time, we know something's up. And I kind of talked about it last week, how that face was the same face he's been making when he went through the Stephon Diggs stuff, when he went through his breakup with his first girlfriend. But I'm tired of people speculating. I have friends and you see people on social media like, I think it's because he got married. And it's absolutely ridiculous. How the hell do we know what goes on in a marriage? I don't think that's fair. There's no signs that the marriage is the reason all of a sudden his body language has changed. Something's up. He could be hurt. Maybe he is going through something personal. Either way, maybe he's just pissed off that they haven't been able to get the pass game going until arguably this past game. Either way, he had an incredible performance, and I just think, can we as Bills fans and then also as NFL fans and media, can we just lay off the dude a little, right? He can handle it. I'm not boo-hooing for him, but look, he won MVP last year. He's got the weight of that city and its curse on his shoulders. He always has. And now he's starting to feel the squeeze because we're all starting to freak out, especially after that Dolphins game. We just want one before we die. And he knows that. And he wants to do that for himself, for the team, and for the city. But there's a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot that has been pointed at him. Even when the passing game hasn't been working and receivers aren't there to get him open. He's still taking some of the blame. And look, he should have taken some of the blame. He hasn't been playing his best season. He's starting to return to form. It's been a tough go. But look, the dude's been in 800 commercials. I know, boo-hoo. But look, it's a lot. It's a lot to handle. He's in the public eye even more as he got married to a A-list actress. And by the way, he had a whole wedding. And now he's back. He's here playing football. And I just think, allow him to be miserable if he wants to be miserable. Dude's got a lot going on. So we'll see what he does in Houston. I have I don't remember. I mean, obviously there was the first playoff game, his first season, where he was sugar high Josh Allen in Houston. But other than that, I don't really have hardcore proof off the top of my head, but I feel like whenever we go to Houston, the Buffalo goes to Houston, I don't care how good or bad the team is, I'm terrified because Allen and the team has not historically played well down there. Also, I just want to quickly make a statement to you Pats fans, our good buddies. I kind of talked about this last week too. Listen, nobody feels bad that you had to go 5 whole years of suffering through finding your new franchise quarterback and getting a hell of a head coach. You've dominated for 20-something years, and you suffered for 5. You start looking really good, and you beat the Bills once, and I don't know what happened, but suddenly Drake May is better than Josh Allen. The Bills' window is completely closed. Allen sucks, and the Patriots dynasty is back. News to me. Look, I put a ton of respect on the Patriots name for weeks on this show. And in my personal life, I said, I think the Patriots are not only going to challenge the Bills, are not only going to go to the playoffs, I think they're going to challenge the Bills for the division, forget the wild card. And some of my friends that were Bills fans were like, dude, you're crazy. Oh, how crazy do I look now? I knew Drake May was great. I didn't know he'd be this great this fast, but I knew, he's a hell of a player, and I respect that. But for you to just like suddenly, come out from under the, out of the shed, like, it's all, we're back. Yeah, 5 years and we're ready to go after beating. I mean, look, the Patriots have one of the easiest schedules along with the Bills. All right. And I don't like people that blame success on easy schedules. They get what they're handed to them. But if you're going to come out and suddenly claim that the Patriots are the dynasty's back and Allen's not as good as May, you got to kind of pump your brakes and realize that, dude, it's one win against the Bills. And May is statistically, I think, a little bit better than Allen this season. Okay, he's been better than Allen this season so far. But you're going to tell me that he overall he's already better? Which inspired me to make a meme, and I'm very excited because I'm old. And I'm usually sharing memes, and I'm like, ooh, I made one. Take a look at this. Let's just, Pats Nation, respect to you, to Vrabel, to Josh McDaniels, to your receiving core, to Drake May. I'm ready for it. I love that we have somebody in the division that it's going to make it interesting again. But, all right, this isn't the Brady years. I know you think it is. So I love Drake May, but it inspired me to make this meme. I put respect on you. Put respect on Allen and the Bills just a little bit. All right, this ain't the drought. Here's some of the good and bad from the game. Some of the bad. All right, it was a great game. Hell of a game as a spectator. Fucking wow. I love me some Baker Mayfield, and obviously I love me some Josh Allen. It was exactly what I thought it would be, a shootout. And thank God there was no Godwin or Evans, because I'm not sure it would have been the same deal. I am so jealous of the Bucs receiving core. If I could have them. Anyway, here's what I don't like. Near the end of the game, third and, I forget the yardage, but Brady, who finally opened up the playbook in the passing game, decided to revert back to his old ways and throw the stupid fucking tunnel screen on third down when it really mattered to Shakir. We've seen it 100 times this game. Same with the strong toss to Cook. That's fine. I know there's repeat plays. Tunnel screens work a lot. It's a great third down play, yada, yada, yada. But if I know it's coming, I'm pretty sure the professionals in the league know that it was coming. And if it wasn't for that face mask, we might have been screwed there. Maybe there would have been a field goal. Who knows what would have happened? But I'm just hoping Brady can think a little bit outside the box like he did this past game moving forward. Deion Dawkins, one of the core members of this whole regime. I mean, I've got nothing bad to say about him playing in general, but I am noticing that he's starting to commit at least a penalty, if not two a game, kind of like Spencer Brown did last year. So I'm hoping he cleans that up. Special teams, holy shit. Wow, what a turnaround. The Bills, I don't even remember the actual stat, but basically the average starting position of drives in the league, the Bills were ranked near the bottom, if not the bottom, starting on the 10, 15, 20-yard line. After last week's game, special teams did so well, they've moved up like 10 spots in the rankings. And that was a huge key to their success, obviously shortening the field for them. So shout out to special teams coach and special teams in general. Run D, holy shit. You could have parked a yacht between the space that the Bucs had running the ball. Look, I knew the run defense was not great with the Bills, but I mean, there were blatant, just like linebackers shifted strong on one side, blatantly out of place. It just didn't look good. It created huge gaps. And I mean, Sean Tucker, who used to be a Syracuse Orangeman, go Sean Tucker for that reason. He had 3 touchdown games. It was just incredible. You know, I don't know what they can do to shore up this run defense. They obviously have to do it, find a way. But in the meantime, I feel like the only way you can counteract that is to do what they did against the Bucs. And that is, have a strong run game, but you got to open up the passing game, and they finally did. They can't put everything on Cook and Ray Davis and Ty Johnson, because if the running game hasn't worked, it's over. They didn't have anything else to go to because guys couldn't get open. And, well, Brady opened up the playbook. They did some personnel shifting, and holy shit, what a difference that made. Because you're going to need a 30, 40-point game from Allen to counteract the awful run defense. So a lot to look forward to, a lot to clean up. Keon Coleman, that was part of the personnel shifting. He got suspended for the game. Not even suspended. He got a healthy scratch for the game because he showed up late to a meeting, not the first time. This has been an ongoing problem. I should have known when he opened his mouth and sounded like he got hit with a boat oar in the head the first time I heard him speak. I know that's kind of mean. I love Keon Coleman. I think he's hilarious. He's a character. But that when production goes down, the comedic value isn't that funny anymore. And especially in a Super Bowl window, a second-year player that they're really relying on to produce. And thank God for some of the other guys that we've had, because the personnel that they used against the Bucs seemed to work. And I don't know how, Mecole Hardman, who they just signed, got hurt, so maybe they slide Coleman back in because of that. But otherwise, I think you stick with what you had without Coleman. And when he is in, hopefully he does produce to possibly boost his trade value, because I think they're going to trade him at the end of the year. I don't want that. I want him to mature. I want him to come out and produce. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, man, I love guys that have character and that are funny, but I love guys that have character and that are funny that are also disciplined in producing on the field. So just bad timing on all of it. I think another bad look was there was some footage of him. He's a healthy scratch. He's on the sideline dancing before the game. Again, I love that. I think it's hilarious. Dude, you just got disciplined for not coming to a meeting. That's Bush League stuff. So, Bills coming up. No C.J. Stroud in Houston, so no excuse not to win that game, I would hope. I do respect, obviously, Houston's defense is terrifying, and Davis Mills is a decent backup, but if the Bills are supposedly who they are, then they're going to need to win that game, and we'll see what happens with Rodgers, and if he needs wrist surgery, I'm actually hoping he doesn't play when they do play the Steelers coming up. And then is Burrow going to be back for the Bengals? We don't know. All right, now I want to do something a little fun here. I found myself in Week 11 watching these games, and I kept saying, "Who are you?" about certain teams and certain players. So here's a segment I just created called "Who Are You?" And I feel like everybody can get on board with this. Sam Darnold has had a rock-solid 25 campaign. He had an incredible 2024 season with the Vikings. And that all came crumbling down when he had an awful playoff performance on the Vikings last season, which started to raise the question. Unfortunately, it's what have you done for me lately league, right? So it didn't erase everything he had done in the season, but they started to go, well, that looked like the New York Jets Darnold, seeing ghosts. 2025, he goes to the Seahawks. He's looked like he did against on the Vikings. He's been solid. And then, in a battle for first place against the rival Rams, he caves. He looked frenetic in the pocket. He threw 4 interceptions. Now, look, first of all, it's a division game. Okay? Anybody can beat any team in the NFL anyway on any given Sunday, especially in a division game. He has struggled against the Rams historically. So there's that part of it. But the part for me that stands out is that the thing I'm noticing is when he has these games, and it's when the pressure is on. And that's an intangible. That's something you can't teach, really. You can help it, but when it mattered, he failed against he failed for the Vikings in the playoffs. And when it mattered yesterday, basically a regular season playoff game, he fell apart. And so for Seahawks fans and for NFL fans, you don't want to see your franchise quarterback falling apart when it matters. And so we'll see. Who are you, Sam Darnold? Are you regular season Sam Darnold who rocks? Or are you seeing ghosts? I'm too nervous when push comes to shove, Sam Darnold. So we'll see. But man, what a great game. Bryce Young. Bryce Young, who I was never impressed with coming, I mean, who am I? But still, I was never impressed with Bryce Young coming out of college into the draft. I mean, I thought he was a great college player, but I didn't see it. He seemed too small for me. There were just things that he didn't pass the eye test for me as a franchise QB. And he's had flashes, and certainly this season he's gotten so much better. But for me, I just thought this is going from this is your franchise guy to possibly a bridge quarterback for the Panthers, who also as a team have been building. But he threw for a franchise record 448 yards against the Falcons on Sunday. Now, it was unexpected for two reasons. First of all, three reasons. First of all, it's Bryce Young. Where's this guy been? Second, he's had the fewest passing yards per game, 168.2 of any QB with at least 9 starts this year. And then to make matters even crazier, he did it against the Falcons defense that have given up the fewest passing yards per game, 162 in the NFL leading into week 11. So, I mean, if you had told me to put my money on that ahead of time, I would have told you you're crazy. So, Bryce Young, who the hell are you? Which brings me to the Falcons and Raheem Morris. Who the hell are you? Now, look, the Falcons have been kind of one of those teams that have just been floating in the middle. Not sure who they are coming into the season. So in week 11, it doesn't seem like a surprise that I should be saying, who are you? But I am, because let's remember, the Falcons beat my Bills pretty well. They've got a great roster on paper. Now, I know Michael Penix Jr. was forced to leave against the Panthers, but Kirk Cousins, who's proved to have been a great, solid NFL quarterback, he couldn't even save them from their own defense. They let Bryce Young throw 448 yards on them. And remember that previously Atlanta got blanked by them 30-0 in September. I don't know, man. I have respect for Raheem Morris as a coach. He's done some things. But I remember the first red flag was when they threw a record contract at Kirk Cousins, and then a month later drafts Michael Penix Jr., who I don't even think was the best quarterback in that draft, 8th overall. Just from forget football, just from a business standpoint, that makes zero sense. So I don't know what's going on in Atlanta. I do know Kirk Cousins is going to take the reins, but he has not looked good since his injury. Just a huge question mark. Maybe the biggest. Who are you, Atlanta? Moving on. I mean, this one's obvious. The Chiefs. We don't know what's going on. They are 5-5. The defense was horrible against Denver. Usually Mahomes makes up for the defensive shortcomings. That did not happen. In fact, the Chiefs offense had 2 chances to put the game away in the fourth quarter. They went 3 and out on both, on the final 2 possessions, and had 2 yards of offense. I mean, we're talking about Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I don't know what's going on. The only thing I can chalk it up to is if you remember last season, and again, I don't have the exact numbers, but there were like 8, 9, 10, 11 one-score games that went in their favor, the Chiefs, last season, where if the field goal didn't get blocked, or if the field goal didn't miss, or if they made the field goal, they would have lost. I mean, they could have easily had 8, 9 losses last season. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I don't know how to justify such a regression. I mean, I know there's, Travis Kelce's a little bit older. He's in the final years of his career. Their defensive tackle, Chris Jones, does not look good. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's one of the scariest defensive tackles in the league. Not very scary this year. I know that's part of it, but and by the way, respect to the Chargers and the Broncos, who we knew coming in this was going to be one hell of a division, and so I think it's the Chiefs problem is a mixture of, I think they're being exposed. They weren't very exposed last year because they were in a division that wasn't very challenging. So they were able to have a few things bounce their way in one-score games, and they didn't have much to challenge them. And now they have both. They have other teams that are challenging them in the division, and they also have are having these certain one-score games go the other way. So, Kansas City, who are you? How about the Jacksonville Jaguars? Who the hell are you? You blew a 19-point fourth-quarter lead, 36-29 loss to Houston last week, albeit, again, division game. So now we think, okay, Jags being the Jags. Then they beat down the LA Chargers 35-6. And by the way, Jaguars are dealing with injuries. But Justin Herbert looked like a shell of himself. He's another guy I could throw in here of a who are you. Sometimes he looks all pro, and sometimes he looks like he should be shipped out. Maybe not shipped out, but he just doesn't, he's not always playing at that elite level that he has the potential to. And again, I understand they're in a tough division. It's maybe a second year with this whole regime and Harbaugh, but I expect bigger things from them. But more importantly, Jacksonville, you are a team that comes out and looks like a playoff caliber team 50% of the time, and then you look like a team that might be picking in the top 10 next year. So I can't figure you out, but I respect it. Jacksonville Jaguars, who are you? And speaking of the Chargers, who the hell are you? Herbert continues to just get beaten behind the line of scrimmage. He completed 10 of 18 passes for 81 yards and an interception. That is god-awful. That drops the Chargers to 7-4, which is, the playoff race is tight. Obviously, it's November. Their next three opponents, Raiders, okay, doable, but division. Eagles, yikes. Chiefs, depending on which Chiefs you get. And each of them have a huge pass rush. And we know that Justin Herbert, the biggest problem in these losses with the Chargers is that Herbert's just getting mauled. So, I don't know who those Chargers are. Chargers, who are you? And then how about, last but certainly not least, Jacoby Brissett, baby. I know. You're thinking, what? Jacoby Brissett is a journeyman quarterback. We know this. But he's a guy that can come in and win, like a Tyrod Taylor, right? He's a respected backup. Well, the Cardinals QB completed 47 passes against the 49ers, which is the most by any QB in any game in NFL history. His previous record of 45, which had been held, the previous record of 45 had been held by Jared Goff and Bledsoe, but now Brissett holds the regular season record and is tied with Ben Roethlisberger for the all-time record, who threw 47 completions in a playoff game. Jacoby Brissett, who are you, buddy? And just a quick shout out, kind of a who are you? You're probably like, who are you? And I'm going to tell you who he is. Jim Schwartz. I just want to give a shout out. I think one of the most underrated defensive coordinators in the game is Jim Schwartz. This dude is a guy that's played with like this aggressive 4-3 defense with wide alignment and a very strong, tight man coverage in the secondary, aggressive. And it showed everywhere he's gone. He won a Super Bowl with the Eagles in 2018. He was there from 2016 to 2020. He was with my Bills in 2014, one of my favorite Bills defenses of all time. They ranked fourth in total defense and led the league with 54 sacks. Very physical. And obviously, he went back to Cleveland in 2023, and he's led the defense to the number one rank in total defense, third down percentage, and first downs allowed in 23. And also, during his time as defensive coordinator, he's helped 8 different defensive linemen reach double-digit sacks in a season. That's 10 total times. And by the way, Myles Garrett on pace to set the new NFL record in sacks this season. So just shout out to Jim Schwartz. Not a great head coach, but let me rephrase that. Maybe he will be. He'll get another shot someday. But didn't have a great run with the Lions, but one hell of a coordinator. And we've seen that a million times. Look at Josh McDaniels. Everywhere he's gone as a head coach, not turned out well. But man, he goes back home to New England, slides right into the offensive coordinator position, and looks like a genius. So Shout out, who are you, Jim Schwartz? I know who you are, but I think the rest of the world needs to know. Which also brings me to a couple things. One, I was just talking about the Journeyman thing. I have such a huge respect for the journeyman of the NFL, QBs. What I mean by that, for those of you that don't know, a journeyman is like a Tyrod Taylor, Ryan Fitzpatrick, if you remember way back in the day, Jeff Garcia, a Joe Flacco, a Vinny Testaverde, Josh McCown, Nick Foles, Kyle Orton, Josh Johnson, Doug Flutie. These are guys that played backup quarterback for many teams for many years, but at a pretty high level. And I don't think they get enough respect because let's be honest. How many times have we seen our teams lose their quarterback for the season on injury and go, fuck, well, season over. And 9 times out of 10 it is. Because it's hard to find good quarterbacks to begin with, but especially a solid, good quarterback to back you up. And we're seeing that with Mac Jones in San Francisco. He's going to work himself into a starting job next season. Hello, Minnesota. Anyway, that's a different story. So I had this thought, and I'm going to do a Twitter poll. You can follow the Twitter poll at MikeBTV, right there on the screen. On Twitter, do you think there should be a journeyman quarterback section of the Football Hall of Fame? I do. I think we should showcase guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick and Vinny Testaverde and have a whole section dedicated to guys because, first of all, it's so hard to play in the NFL for a long period of time, even if you're a backup. Because obviously, yes, well, you don't play as many games, so it's easy to stay healthy. Yes, true, but there's also new blood coming in all the time. And it's very easy to be forgotten about and go to the CFL or wherever else you want to go. But I also think it would give incentive. Some of these guys that were starting quarterbacks, like your Kenny Pickett's and your, you name it. They lose their shot at being the franchise guy, and now they get thrown around the league as a backup. And that can hurt a quarterback or an NFL player's ego and affect their game overall. I think that if you add a Hall of Fame, a journeyman quarterback Hall of Fame section to the NFL Hall of Fame, not only is it great for sports fans, and I just think it would be great to add, it would also add more incentive. Like, hey, you know what? My career's not over. They have an appreciation for backup QBs. I'm going to work my ass off even harder to be one of the best journeymen. So, Twitter poll at MikeBTV, should they add a NFL journeyman QB section to the Hall of Fame? Moving along, also, I had this thought the other day, and I was watching the Bills game, obviously, and Josh Allen had thrown 2 insane, like 1 bonehead interception, just nuts. But it didn't end up hurting him too badly, neither interception. And so, as I talked about earlier, Pats fans suddenly think that Drake May's better than Allen, and Allen sucks, and, the Bills Super Bowl window's over, yada, yada, yada. But one of the big arguments about this May-Allen thing is, Allen's starting to turn the ball over again. Let me tell you something. Interceptions are not, and I'm not saying this because it's Allen. I would say this about any quarterback in the league. I'm telling you, overall, interceptions aren't that big of a deal. Is a pick six a big deal? 100%. Is throwing an interception in a moment in the game where it matters and then they go on to score because of that? Yes, I'm not saying interceptions don't matter at all. But we look at a stat sheet and we go, 2 interceptions? Sucks. Not all interceptions are the same, right? Sometimes, first of all, it's not always the quarterback's fault. Sometimes it could be a receiver that didn't catch it or, and it bounced up in the air and it was an easy tip drill, right? But also, it could be an arm punt, right? It's 4th and whatever, 4th and 4, 4th and 5, 4th and 6, 4th and 2. You want to go for it. You decide, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send them, and I'm just going to huck it up there as an arm punt. Maybe I can, A, have someone go up and get it and come down with it in some sort of miracle, or B, I'll draw a pass interference, which is very easy to do in today's NFL. And it becomes an arm punt. Okay, it gets intercepted. Well, now they're starting on the 19-yard line, as opposed to if I had thrown it and had thrown it 5 yards and it was incomplete, and now they're taking over on the 52. So what I'm saying is not all interceptions are equal, and interceptions aren't that bad. They're not good, but they're not that bad. We've got a couple more things. One is, you know what, I'll do this one first while we're doing some quick ones here. Jamar Chase, by the time you're watching this, kind of old news, happened last week. He spit on a player. I don't like to say spat. He spat on a player. I like to say spit. He spit on Ramsey. Ramsey threw a punch. For a while, until the post game, it looked like Ramsey was just out of his mind, throwing punches because of an argument. Turns out he got spit on, which I think is the absolute lowest form of disrespect. I almost think spitting on someone is worse than slapping or punching somebody. It's pretty bad. And I'm not saying that Ramsey should have punched him, but I get it. It's not a good look for the NFL. It's not a good look for the Bengals, and it's certainly not a good look for Jamar Chase, who is very widely respected in this league as the best, or at least one of the best receivers. And now, Bengals do not have Jamar next game, and they are fighting for their lives until Burrow gets back to stay in contention. But it got me thinking, you know, if you remember this, again, I didn't mean for this to become a thing, but I've been doing it. We've had a couple instances where people got in trouble for illegal gambling in sports, and I came up with certain funny punishment, I don't know about funny, came up with certain punishment ideas to steer these guys clear of doing it again, because sometimes fines and suspensions are just not enough. Sometimes they are. So I got to thinking, all right, you spit on somebody. How do we make sure they don't do this again? It's pretty disgusting. Oh, I know. You spit on somebody in a game, you got to have a pet llama for at least a week, maybe a month. Those fuckers spit. You gotta take them home with you. You gotta bring them on the sideline. You are responsible for that llama. I'll also accept alpaca. And then I thought of another one. For those of you that are as old as me, back in the 80s and 90s, remember, you'd be sitting there in elementary school and you'd see the tray come out and you'd go, oh, fuck. At least I did. Because you had to do the fluoride rinse. Yeah. I think you just have to do multiple fluoride rinses throughout the game, mandatory. Treat it like a drug test. I think that'll steer these guys away from spitting. So no bueno there. I've got a couple more quick things, but I want to get to the meat of today's episode. And that is a look ahead at some of the games that I'm seeing on the schedule in Week 12 that are really catching my eye and really, really matter. Now, every game matters in the NFL, but I'm talking really matters. And the first one might be the game of the week is the Colts versus the Chiefs. Colts 8-2, Chiefs 5-5. Colts are one of three teams battling for the 1 seed in the AFC. And they join the Broncos, Patriots as well. The Chiefs, on the other hand, they are hanging for dear life. The Chiefs have lost their last 2 games to fall back to 500 on the season, and they're currently listed as the 9th seed in the AFC if the playoffs were to start today. So they're going to host the Colts at Arrowhead, which is a good thing. But I'll tell you what, they lose this week, 5-6, not completely undoable, if that's a word, but it's going to be real tough for them. Forget the division. It's going to be tough for them to even get the wild card. If the Colts win, according to Pro Football Focus, the Colts currently have an 80% chance to make the playoffs. If they beat the Chiefs, that goes up 15% to 95, and they'll be a near lock for the playoffs. Now, if the Chiefs currently have a 55% chance of making the playoffs. If they lose to Indy, that drops all the way down to 30. The Chiefs have the largest, and this is cool too, the Chiefs have the largest playoff leverage of the week, meaning that their playoff percentage is affected the most of any team in the league based on this week's result. So you want to talk about a huge win, or a huge game. Now, if the Colts lose, their playoff chances will fall just to under 75%, and they'll be at 8-3. They're going to be facing 4 divisional opponents coming up. And if they split those divisional games after beating the Chiefs, they'll practically have the South wrapped right up anyway. But if the Chiefs do beat the Colts, their playoff chances will rise to under 70, which is huge for them. And the Chiefs would still be far behind the AFC West race, but it would significantly up their chances of the wild card race. Another game that I've got circled, Vikings-Packers. Obvious reason, right? They're division rivals. Packers 6-3-1. Vikings are 4-6. In a division that tough, they're going to need a win to save their season, the Vikings. And they have fared well at Lambeau. They've led by double digits in each game at Lambeau last season. They won both. Packers have 2 games left on their schedule against teams that are below 500. So both of these games are, and both of those games are against Minnesota. There's no layups left on the schedule. McCarthy, though. McCarthy's been the real issue. He's last in the NFL in completion percentage, and according to PFF, has the worst turnover-worthy play rate among quarterbacks who've played enough snaps to qualify. McCarthy will put the ball in harm's way, most likely. Packers defensive backs, they dropped like 4 different interception chances last week, so they'll have a chance at redemption this week. Justin Jefferson's been a no-show. He ranks 7th with 747 receiving yards, averaging 13 yards per reception. That's his lowest. So for the Vikings, the clear problem is that quarterback. Insert Mac Jones maybe next year. But Green Bay, their pass rush needs to start finding their way. Micah Parsons has been great, as we knew he would. But that's it. So I don't know if Jeff Hafley has to start dialing up blitzes again, but they've got to change something. And Green Bay's run defense continues to drop as well. So if the Vikings are smart, they will they'll get the run game going with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. And then defensive coordinator Brian Flores. I say you dial up the blitz packages against the Jordan Love. And then the Steelers-Bears is the last game on the schedule in Week 12 that's really caught my eye, and that's one to watch. Steelers 6-4, Bears 7-3. Right there, it's already exciting based on their records. But Bears improved to 7-3 last week after another close win over the Vikings. And man, they took over the NFC North. I've said that the NFC North, everyone's saying, oh, the AFC West and, the AFC North to me, or the NFC North, to me is the hardest division. And I said all 4 teams could probably go to the playoffs. And man, the schedule only gets harder from here, though, for the Bears. We're really going to see what they're made of. Ben Johnson, he's lived up to all the expectations. That dude, just like a Sean McDermott and Andy Reid, guys that come in and they immediately change the culture, and you can see it. I mean, you could see it in Caleb Williams' body language on the sideline after they won. They kicked the field goal. Now, whether it was a show or not, because I do know that he likes to put on a show, he wasn't ecstatic that they kicked the field goal and won. I'm not saying I don't want him to celebrate and be happy, but he knew that they had almost lost that game, and he knew there was a lot more work to do. And for me, obviously there's holes in that roster. I mean, first of all, their defense, the Bears' defense, one of the best in the league. I think number 1 in takeaways, or at least they were. And their number 1 corner is coming back. So look out there. But also, for me, the glaring X factor was Caleb Williams, and not on the field, because everything I've seen from Caleb Williams up to now, including last season, is he's got all the tools. And yes, there's things that need to have been worked on, footwork, going through his progressions, all that stuff. But that all can be coached. That all can be taught. That can be polished, if you will. But it was here. He's like me. I'm cerebral. I'm mental. So I knew that if Ben Johnson could reel that in, they'd have a real shot at making the playoffs and maybe even winning the division. And that seems to be what's happening. So we will see what happens in Steelers-Bears. Steelers are just this team. I should have included the Steelers in this Who Are You segment, because I don't know who they are. They always seem to end up with 9 wins no matter who's on the team. Hopefully Rodgers is not injured, and we'll see what we get with them. They also have a defense that sometimes looks amazing. Steelers-Bears, that's a good one. And I was wrong. This is the last game I have circled, and that's Patriots-Bengals. You're probably thinking, why the hell are you circling Patriots-Bengals? 2 reasons. Well, first of all, no Chase, no Burrow for the Bengals. They have 7 losses. They're 3-7, Patriots 9-2. They are hanging by. You remember when you'd get a loose tooth and like you're messing with it, and just before it's about to come out, it's just hang. That right there are the Cincinnati Bengals, and they know Burrow's waiting in the wings. When he's going to come back, end of November, December, we don't know. But when he does, he's going to be on a mission. He was my MVP pick before he had gotten hurt. So they have a lot to play for, even with 7 losses. This is basically a playoff game for them. Patriots looking to extend their winning streak to 9 games. This is a team. First of all, this is Mike Vrabel's 6th straight road win, which is just unbelievable, especially first year. Patriots are ranking first in the NFL against the run and allowing 84.7 rushing yards per game. Bengals do not have a strong run game, and I would say they have a great receiving core. No Jamar Chase, so it's not looking good for the Bengals, but they have a lot to play for. And remember, Bills nipping at the Patriots' heels, as well as other teams in the AFC for the 1 seed. So big game there. Couple quick things before we go. One, so I live in Ithaca, and if you've never been to a Cornell hockey game, you are doing yourself a disservice. I don't care if you hate Cornell, like Cornell, college. The experience is second to none. It is in this tiny Liner rink, which has been around since like 1647. So much history there with Ken Dryden and Neuendijk and all the Ivy League championships and national championships that Coach Schaefer has won. The last seat in Liner rink is like the last seat in the first section at Madison Square Garden, right next to the ice. It is so small. You're right on top of the ice. The student section is straight across from where all the townies sit, and they put on a show. When the team gets announced, the lineup, they all take out newspapers like they don't care. They crumple it up, they throw it. My personal favorite is when the goalie in between, like the whistle blows in between, plays, and he's just kind of skating around the crease, and the whole student section, skate, 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 skate. And then they say, bend over, bend over, bend over. They'll say bend over, I'm not even kidding you, 30, 40 times until the goalie finally bends down and gets set again. They do like stuff like that throughout the whole game. The band's playing. It is awesome. So do yourself a favor. Go to a Cornell hockey game. If you love sports, if you love hockey, it is such an incredible experience. I love it. But with that being said, there's 2 new guys on the team. Let me tell you a little something. Their names on their own are just regular names. But if I was a coach, if I was Cornell, I would not put these 2 together next to each other on the bench. Come on, look at that. Dude, look, I am a sucker for 10-year-old humor, and right there is 10-year-old humor. Absolutely love that. There's another reason to go to a Cornell game. Also, I want to play quickly. Last week, if you remember on the show, for those of you that do listen or watch, my kids and I were featured on a segment on the NFL Network. There's a show called Good Morning Football, my favorite sports show on TV, one of my favorite shows on TV. And Kyle Brandt hosts a segment called Angry Runs, where he shows clips from the week of all running backs that have stiff-armed someone or plowed through a line, and they win a scepter if they win the Angry Run of the week. And then what happens is he partners with Homage. It's a clothing brand, and they make that week, whoever wins Angry Runs, they make that player's Angry Run shirt, and fans can buy it. So anytime James Cook has won, I've bought a shirt. This is his 3rd time winning. So I bought another shirt. And the other thing Kyle Brandt does is he says, send in your Angry Run pictures from our street team, us, fans, with the shirts on, and maybe we'll feature them on the show. Well, my kids and I posed right here, as you can see, with our 3 Angry Run shirts on, and we were chosen for the show. And I want to show the clip. This made mine and my kids' week. Here is Kyle Brandt of Good Morning Football in his Angry Run segment featuring me and the kids.
We're looking for the angriest photo of me. Now, this is excellent. This is my man, Mike. This alone could have been it. It looks like he's doing a kind of Gandalf thing. But then we come down to Addison and Parker. Parker stiff arm on his sister's temple, and Addison's not feeling it. I love this one in front of the Christmas tree. Merry Christmas.
Just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Thank you, Kyle Brandt. Thank you, Good Morning Football and the producers, and thank you, NFL Network. You made 2 kids really happy, 3 if you count me. With that, that's it. It's Mike Brindisi with you on GNY Sports. GNY Sports is a side quest of our main podcast, Good News York, hosted by Matt Mazer and I. That is Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern on all socials at Good News York, goodnewsyork.com. But also, if you're enjoying GNY Sports, you can also find GNY Sports where Good News York lives, as GNY Sports is a side quest of Good News York. So you can also get GNY Sports at Good News York on all socials. Mike Brindisi, you can follow me on all socials at MikeBTV. Don't forget about the Twitter poll at MikeBTV on Twitter. Should they add the NFL Journeyman quarterback section to the Hall of Fame? That's the question. Email me. Comments, questions, compliments, insults, concerns. You can send it all to MikeBTV at gmail.com. We will see you next week.